Sometimes it takes me forever to start a video, because like I have to think so much about like the preparation and stuff that the little details sometimes go amiss. But yeah, so thank you all so much for the well wishes and prayers and anything positive and good you sent the last week my way. I really do appreciate it so much. My poopsies are awesome. They're the best. Simply put, you guys are like no one else. And so I thank you for your love and support. My boyfriend got me this for one of my Christmas gifts last year, and so I wanted to try it out. It's Q&A. Q. A day, so it's kind of like a journal prompt. I did not really journal much in the last month, maybe a few days of the month, but this has 365 questions for 5 years, giving you 1,825 possible answers. So it's a 5-year journal. So I kind of already knew I wouldn't be that like committed to this journal right off the bat, because I've just kind of been journaling on and off my whole life. I don't really stay too consistent. There's about a couple years I was like consistently journaling daily, but that can be hard sometimes when life gets in the way. So, but I thought this would be a nice little video, maybe get you to know me better or get you to think about life more in depth, to get to know yourself more, your personal values. So this is a quote by Andy Warhol. They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself. That is so true. Time doesn't necessarily heal jack squat. You have to take action and work on yourself, heal. So that's how I interpret that. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm not gonna read like the dates. Like it starts on January 1st, obviously, ends December 31st, and just keeps repeating for 5 years. So basically, like this is 2026, and then I would put 2027 here, 2028, 2029, and 2030. Now we reflect year by year your outlook on life and things, and I think that's pretty cool. So it says, what is your mission? And actually, as you can probably see, I started writing, but then the pen ink ran out, and I just gave up. Like, I'm a very lazy person. I don't know if you know that. I'm a Virgo. Virgos are usually kind of lazy people. So I'm like, okay, the pen ink ran out. Yep, nope, that's it for today. Like, that was my effort for today, pretty much, right? I'm not gonna like stress myself out, you know? I'm really like that nowadays too. I'm not really gonna stress myself out for anybody. I'm not really gonna like, you know, destroy my nerves for somebody, right? Like, if something's just not working out, it's just not working out, period. I'm just gonna let it go and leave it be. You know, I'm not gonna try to convince anybody. I'm not gonna try to make myself seem a certain way. I am who I am. I come as I am. Love it or leave it, you know? And that took a long time to get there. But, that is to say, like, I'm me. You know, I'm not changing for anybody. I only can change what I feel needs to be tweaked and changed. So I think journaling allows you to do that, right? It allows you to kind of tweak your life. To reflect and be like, oh, okay, when I put this on paper, this is who I am now, but this is who I'd rather become, you know? So, by the way, I hope you guys are making it through this cold. Oh my god, it has been so cold here. So cold. I've been doing okay the last few days, but February 1st, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it took it out of me. Like, I even forgot to shave for the week. I'm just like, whatever, man, you know? Yeah, the loves you. So it was a mix of that too. But what is your mission? See, you can tell I'm kind of dodging the question because I know what my mission is, but it's still a very uncomfortable question. I want to help people. You know, that's always been my mission. That's not hard. And I was going to write that down yesterday before the pen ink made me give up. So I feel like, you know, I'm not a quitter. Like, I never give up. Even though, like, I give up, like, in little moments, I'll eventually get back to it. So, you know, never to give up, never to quit. That's my mission. I always have that value. Never to give up or quit, you know, no matter what happens, you know. Because sometimes you could be right around the corner into your biggest breakthrough. And if you quit right before you get around the corner, you're going to die wondering what would have happened if I kept going, you know. And I don't want to take regrets to my grave, you know. I don't want to be that guy. And so, you know, I want to help people and never to give up or quit. Always to be true. Always to be genuine. True, truthful, and genuine. Which I am. You know, people always tell me I'm the least fake person they know, you know. I've always gotten that from, like, people in my private life, like personal friends, like even in school growing up. They were like, you know, I didn't like your opinions sometimes. I didn't like how honest you were, but at least you weren't a fake B word, you know. So they were like, I can appreciate you for that. And that's why I didn't really keep many friends, because I just kept it real with people. I didn't BS, you know. And people don't like that. People like, oh, you look so nice today. I'm like, no, I'm gonna tell you, like, girl, that hair, no, we're gonna do it this way, you know. And I do it out of love because, you know, again, that Virgo thing, like, we're real, you know. And we keep it real, right? Because we love you. And it's like, you know, we don't love you if we're fake with you, if we're not honest with you, period. So we're gonna be honest with you because we want what's best for you, you know. So that Virgo love, nobody understands. That deep Virgo love, it's the type that not everybody's prepared for, okay? So, and honestly, to love, I just want to love, you know. That's been my mission. So helping people, never to give up, to quit, no matter what life throws your way. Always to be true and genuine, and to love. I think that's appropriate for 2026. So, can people change? Yes and no. Yes and no. It's up to the person to change. I'll write that down. Because I used to be black and white, right? I used to say, oh, you know, it's hard because, like, I want to believe in people. I want to believe in the best possible outcome in humanity and in the person in general, individually. But knowing what I've been through and having been hurt many times from people that just refuse to change, it makes me lose faith in not just humanity, but like individual persons as well, right? And if that makes sense. So I'm gonna write yes and no, because when I used to be more gullible, I said yes, people can change. And then when I lived through my 20s, I was like, oh no, people never change, baby. People never change, baby. But then, like, people say how much I've changed, and it's like, I don't know. So I think it takes a lot of daily, consistent, conscious effort. That's what I'm gonna write, yes and no. Daily effort. And, you know, feel free to journal while I'm writing too. Daily effort, consistency. By the way, all these pens are actually scented. I think this is, oh, berry. It's berry scent. Yeah, I can actually smell it. Daily effort, consistency, a willingness to at least try. I'm hoping my faith in humanity is restored. Because I kind of want to make it like a mental goal for 2026 too. Like, you know, really try to see the positive, the best in people, which I've been doing, honestly, not to boast, to braggadocious, but a damn great job at lately. Sticking positive. I've had so many challenges just beaten into me lately in the last couple months. Normally I would have just freaking not handled it well. I handled it with grace, with kindness, with ease, and without, wrecking my nerves, basically. So I'm very proud of myself in the last couple months. I just have to be honest with myself. It has been a stressful, challenging time, a very testing, you have to be very patient time. So, yeah. So yes, normally I wouldn't have handled it better, but now I can. So it's like, yes, people can change, but again, it takes a daily, I've come to learn it takes a daily, consistent practice and intentional effort. If you don't constantly remind yourself, you're going to forget and go back to old ways. What are you reading right now? Okay, I'm going to write a couple things. I just finished the book Guided. I bought it in an airport in Baltimore month and a half ago. So it's called Guided, and the lady talks about how loss, basically grieving, and how, even after you lose somebody, whether a pet, she goes into animals in detail, a parent or a sibling or a friend, she goes into all sorts of stories that she's heard from people she's known in her personal life, including herself as the author. That you can overcome it by knowing that spirit is always with you. That spirit is always connected to you, regardless of loss. My bird, God may she rest in peace, passed away a year ago, almost. She's always with me. Whenever I even think about her, then I see that big hawk fly over me every single time, consistently. Or I'll feel her presence, or I'll see like a feather floating by. It's so beautiful, or a feather on the ground. So that's confirmation. So the book talks about things like that. Like if you, lost a mother, God forbid, and, she loved chocolate, and then she's sending you like chocolate everywhere. You see signs of chocolate everywhere. There's a chocolate billboard ad. They're talking about chocolate on the radio. That's spirit, okay? They're trying to connect with you. So they're never gone. You cannot destroy energy, okay? You cannot ever destroy energy. Period. People never actually die. That's the biggest lie we've been told. They just go to the next dimensional plane of existence. But you can't really see them because they're operating from a different dimension. It's typically a higher dimension, higher octave than what we're living at here in this 3D plane, which is very low. So it's like the base plane, right? It's not like low, like it doesn't have to necessarily be low vibration. It's just because consciously people live in their minds in like a 4th, 5th, 6th plus dimension. So we're not actually, that's why there's still beautiful things. Nature is still beautiful, they've tested roses, and roses have a higher vibrational energy frequency than we do, and that's why they're so beautiful. And so, there's still, 4th, 5th, 6th dimensional layering on this earth. So it's not all bad, but then, when you pass away, typically it's like, typically, not always, but like 7 and up, right? Sometimes it could be, it just depends, but, it's a different vibration and dimension. So it's not that they're gone, it's they're gone from this plane of existence. So they're tapping into you by, in a weird way, it's like they almost have to lower their vibration to kind of like reach us here, which is why it's so hard to connect. So they do little things that can connect in a higher vibration way, like sending a feather, or, a little butterfly usually is your angels, or, an ancestral coming through. Sometimes, my mom has this too, like every time someone in her family dies, she's very psychic, she's a Pisces, she'll get them actually coming next to her in her sleep and touching her, and she'll wake up crying and sobbing, like she'll feel their presence, interact with her in that way. She's felt it with her mother and then her father, who recently passed away. So they come in dreams too. She sees them in dreams. So, she's gifted in that way. But for me personally, it's like kind of during the day, or I'll see like my ancestors in meditation, and I'll just start, sobbing. So it's a beautiful way. They reach you in different ways based on who you are. So you're never at a loss. They're always with you, is my point. So that's kind of what the book described in detail, and to kind of give you like comfort, reassurance that they're never really actually gone, and it helps you through your grieving journey. way through the book so far. It's a pretty quick read. I mean, I'm a quick reader. I read really fast, so I go through book after book after book. But like a chapter a day, you're gonna read it in a week, you know. So but it's pretty long still, you know. You have to really be consistent. But anyway, so this short read is kind of really in depth about your healing journey, you know, and it opens your mind because it's healing in a different light, you know, that you're not used to really being taught or informed with from your therapist. Like it's a different way of healing. It's a different way of looking at things. He describes things in detail where I've personally never heard of things in that specific way before. I'm like, oh, it kind of is like a weirdly different way of looking at things, but to me at least, because I've never, you know, read into this material or this viewpoint or perspective, I should say, but it actually gets to the root, you know, without the BS. It's like, okay, this is what happened. This is how you should view things so that you can move on in this way. You know, it's a very straightforward, blunt approach. It's not really like buttering you up, kind of like, you know, maybe the last book might be more like gentle, you know. This is just like direct, like upfront, like, okay, you know, yes, this happened, but here's how you can, you know, gracefully move on without, you know, holding yourself back on your healing journey. It's just so far, whatever. It's just very simple, straightforward. It tells stories about what people have been through. It mostly talks about cheating, which is beautiful because I've been through that myself and the pain of being cheated on, and how you can also overcome that as well. But it's not just about that. It's not just about relationships. It's just, you know, it's about relationships in general, relationships with people in general. Okay, so anybody you interact with that you've had to face struggles with, or, you know, toxic connections, this will help you dramatically. Okay, but so far so good. Like I said, I'm only halfway, so I'm gonna put my slippies, my little slippers. It's kind of really cold on the floor. This new flooring is like stone, I think, so it makes my feet very cold. I miss having heated floors. Oh my god, that was amazing. Okay, so yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. So the best part of today. Okay, let's talk about today. Why not? Even though it's not January 4. The best part of today, honestly, was waking up healthy. I've been thinking about this principle a lot. Like, just the gratitude of I drank my green tea just now. I was able to pet my dog today. I have a beautiful view of this backyard and the pool. You know, just like, even though some things didn't go right yesterday or as planned, you know, I'm not thinking about yesterday, I'm thinking about today. So being more present is what I'm really, really trying to work on, so I could write that down. Being more present. And gratitude of waking up today healthy. Thank God. You know, and just being able to have my cup of tea and sit outside and look at the beautiful view, really. Because I just started my day. It's still, you know, morning, afternoon, so it's like I didn't have much of my day yet. But that's the best time to journal, you know, when you first wake up. Your mind is fresh still. You're not so tired, you know. So yeah. So I hope these journaling prompts are helping you. I think I'll keep going. I feel inspired. You know, this feels good to do, to let it out. What was the last restaurant you went to actually yesterday? It was, what should I say? I don't want to give away the area I reside in, but it was a pizza place. I'll write it down here. We wanted to treat ourselves, chow. We didn't sit in the restaurant, we just took it to go, but I wish we did sit. I kept saying to him, I was like, we should sit, and he's like, no, I just want to take it home. I'm like, fine. Because it was so cold outside. We were literally dressed like, you know, he was dressed in coat. I was dressed in like, sweater, shirt under that, long pants, socks and shoes, like hoodie. Like, it was cold, okay? Like 30s, alright? I think this is the first time in like a quarter of a millennia that like the whole Caribbean, not the whole Caribbean, but like Cuba, Bahamas, like South Florida is all like almost like freeze warnings, you know, for February. That's like, what the hell? And it's like really unusual. So yeah, so I guess you know, I enjoyed it either way. I was worried the pizza would get cold. I kept insisting like we should eat there, but anyway, so that's the place we went to. Okay, I'm right. It was good. It was good. They could have toned it down with the pepperoni though, but I'm not gonna write that down. Okay. Usually, if something doesn't go right, I'm never the type of person to write a bad review. The only time I write reviews is if I really, really enjoyed my time, or the food was bomb.com. Like, then I'll be like, oh my gosh, like this is the best place ever. Or when they offer like discounts, I'll be like, okay, fine, I'll write the review, right? Because that lazy Virgo energy, right? We're not gonna write the review, okay, unless we really need to. All right, life or death. Okay. All right. So today was tough because, you know, that's hard. Because nothing really was tough about today. Other than like last night, I had some issues with the cold was making my it was so cold, my pool pump was making a weird sound, so I could barely sleep. So today technically was midnight until now, so it's like that's technically today. I couldn't sleep very well. The noise, pool pump, was driving me nuts. Plus, we just got huge X-class solar flares, several of them in fact. So usually when the solar flares hit, I can't sleep very well. So solar flaring be blaring, child. Okay, so you are lucky. I know no, how so or not so? Okay, because there are times I'm not. I definitely feel like unlucky. I'm sure, like everyone else. I'm lucky because I have the life that I do. Simply put, I just feel so grateful for it. I work so hard for it. You know, being in a place where I had to, you know, like many years ago, live with somebody I didn't really want to live with. And then, yeah, you know, as far back as 11 years ago, yeah. So, and then now just having my own place with my partner, like, and dog, like, oh my gosh, like I never would have thought. Part of me kind of wished it happened sooner, and that's why I'm still kind of like, I'm gonna be honest with you, a little bitter, a little resentful. Not to myself, but life and situations or circumstances, because I feel like it shouldn't have taken me this long. Because sometimes, you know, when you compare yourself to the people, it's like, oh, they have their own house with a wife and kids by now, and, you know, everything, you know, more than I do, right? And they're like 26, 27, 28, you know, and I'm like, you know, but do they feel the joy I do? You know, like it doesn't make sense, you know, to compare yourself. So I feel lucky I got out. I feel I made it. I feel blessed daily. It only gives me so much space to write, so I have to keep it short, sweet, and simple. I feel unlucky because things took so damn long. Yeah, just keeping it real. You know, just keeping it real. What song is stuck in your head? When I saw Kesha was singing to Mariah Carey, Obsessed. Yeah, you know, every morning or every other morning, a new song will play in my head. It's weird. Sometimes it's Chandelier by Sia. I don't know why. That's a beautiful song. I like how it sounds. Today was Obsessed. I was like, ooh, that girl had vocals, right? So, Obsessed by Mariah. I don't even think I spelled obsessed right, child. Carrie, sung by Kesha. Alright. Was today typical? Why or why not? Yeah, today was pretty average. Today was okay. I just woke up, had my cup of tea, made my dog breakfast, went outside, enjoyed the weather, and then hit record. That's my typical Monday morning. I don't really do much else. I have a pretty average, boring life. It's nothing extraordinary, nothing special. I cleaned my house yesterday, we just hung out. I didn't really do much yesterday. We put a little bit wind chimes and decor in the pool screen. Just trying to enjoy life, take it easy, It was a typical day. Had breakfast. Hit record. Monday morning blues, question mark. Because sometimes people have the Monday morning blues. I don't really feel that way. I sort of feel bluish when I start feeling burned out. Maybe by end of Tuesday, maybe Wednesday morning, I'm like, because I film 3 days in a row nonstop, all day. Sometimes I have 12-hour days, just record, pre-record. So by Wednesday, I'm like, so then I need the whole Thursday through Sunday to recoup. It depends, but yesterday, I actually gave myself, I just remembered I gave myself that time to recoup. Normally I would have been filming your readings, but I was like, you know what, I just had this move. I finally moved out officially of the last place as of 2 days ago, the 31st, so, it was an emotional time for me. I was crying. I was saying goodbye to Poopsie, because her grave is there. I was saying goodbye to the house. I was looking at the empty house. It was all cleaned out. They cleaned out the place. Yes, the cleaners did a good job. And I was just imagining little Paco running around in circles in the house barking, and all the memories I had with my partner in there the last couple years. And it was just so beautiful. I just had my imagination went wild. I was just reflecting on the empty house. I was like, oh, this is when I did this, or this when this happened, or this event unfolded. And I was saying goodbye to the trees outside in the backyard. I was protecting the land, sending blessings to the land that the land, honey, the land, if you get the reference. And saying, may this place always be protected. May they never chop down these trees. May this always be safe and protected. Thank you, native spirits, for keeping this a safe house, even during 3-4 hurricanes we've had. Thank you for sheltering me, just giving my gratitude and love, and I'm reflecting on that now in a verbal journal kind of way, because I can only write so much here. But it was a lot. I've been going through a lot lately. There's a good friend I have who I love so much, who's been going through a lot lately. If you're watching, you know who you are. And I just send my love to you as well, man. And I hope things work out for you. I hope God continues to bless you. And just hearing what they've been going through has been very hard on me too lately, honestly. Yeah, so, a couple things with family that's happened the last couple months. It's been very hard to hear and witness, but it's there's some things you go through sometimes in life. So, today is how you make it. So today I didn't necessarily choose to focus on those things of the past. I chose to be present, which I'm grateful for, because that's hard for me to do sometimes, because my mind, especially in the middle of the night, when you can't sleep from solar flare activity, tends to wander on the past. And that's my biggest demon, I think, is, getting very sentimental, melancholy, and emotional, thinking and reflecting about my past and all my problems. Sometimes I'll think about a person, like an ex, or more present. So I'm glad today wasn't the Monday morning blues, you know. I feel like if you have like one or two a month, fine, you don't hate yourself, you don't hate your life, you don't hate your job. But if you have Monday morning blues all the time, every day, and you have to report to work, something's wrong. You gotta change that job. The energy's off, you know. You got to change something about your life. If you no longer enjoy what you do, you gotta change it, because that's most of your life. Or half of your life, period, you know. If you report to a job 8 hours a day, and you're awake 16 hours a day because you're asleep 8 hours a day, that's a third of your life. And that's half of your life awake. So that's half of your conscious life. If you're doing it being miserable, change it. Okay? Change it. Because I'm telling you, you have to start thinking about when you're older. You're not going to think about, oh, how much money I made at that job. You're going to think about, damn, I was so miserable during that time. So don't not leave the job just because of the paycheck and the life it brings you. Leave it because it doesn't make you happy anymore. Because when you're old, you're going to regret not leaving. You're going to regret how sick you became staying in a place that made you small. Made your paycheck big, but it made you feel worthless. Think about that. Consciously think about your older self, okay? What would your older self do? What would your older self think or say? Okay, we're going deep today, okay? Virgo love. Not everyone's ready for it. That's why not everybody likes me. But I've learned to respect that. You know, I am going to be hated. You know, I knew that was coming when I put myself online 18 years ago. I knew people wouldn't like me. I knew. But I did it anyway. You know, because I'm not living for anybody. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm saying that's how I choose to live. What are your values? Write that down. Pause the video, reflect if you need. Okay? Now I feel inspired to do like a journal group. like gather all my poopsies in Southwest Florida and be like, let's gather once a week for like a journal session group. Alright, okay. Write down something that inspired you today. Okay. I think I'm going to stop it here because I'm on January 10 right now. So I think 10 prompts are sufficient. If you like this though, maybe I can do more. What inspired me today? Well, first of all, Kesha, her beautiful vocals. So I'll write that down. Kesha's beautiful vocals. I love music, you know. I love music. And people gotta stop saying she's underrated. No, she is not underrated. She's rated the way she's meant to be rated. Okay, let's stop saying underrated or overrated, right? Everyone's in a place where they're meant to be right now. Enough judgment. Okay? Stop. So I feel as though I didn't really think about this today, you know. I didn't think what inspired me today. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I inspire myself. You know, this might sound egotistical, but like, I don't share this openly with people, but I know how awesome I am. You know, that's the love I give to myself. I know I'm worth it. I know I'm, like, in my own way, powerful, right? Not in a physical 3D realm way. I mean, like, spiritually. But like, I feel like I feel compelled to say I inspire myself because I know how incredible I am, because I know what I've been through and how I handle things. Does that make sense? Do you feel that way too? You know, I'm not talking from an ego standpoint. I'm talking like, I just know. I have a deep inner knowing about I can do anything. You know, I believe in myself. That kind of inspiration. So I inspire myself. Because I know I'm all I got. I don't have like friends like that. I don't have like that many people in my life I could really reach out to, you know. I'm a lone wolf on this journey through life, man. So I have to keep going, you know. I have to keep pushing forward, you know. So I have to keep inspiring myself. Even if you don't believe it at first, you have to keep going, you know, because you're all you got at the end of the day. You know, I can't keep like dumping my problems to, you know, someone I know. You know, I have to honest, it's only like 1 in the afternoon, maybe not midnight. What is it? Like 12:30, 1 in the afternoon. I don't think much has really inspired me today. So I'm just gonna be honest, not much. I'm just gonna write that down. Okay, I'll leave that there. So if you guys enjoyed this, I can definitely do more in the near future. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you liked. I hope this helped you process yourself, continue on your healing journey as well, give you some feedback, and now I feel inspired to keep going. I'll probably not keep going until you guys say like, oh, I want more of this kind of content. Then I'll just wait to do more. So how do you feel now? Check in though. Like, don't just like stop journaling. Like, really reflect. Like, close your eyes. Like, how do you feel right now? I feel lighter. I feel like more honest, more genuine. I feel like I was able to open up with you, even though it was a little bit, a smidgen of discomfort for me. You know, I like to push myself and challenge myself to continue to be honest, and to accept where I'm at now. That's how I feel. Like, just accepting this is where I'm at now. It's not where I want to be. Maybe, I don't know, maybe, you know, I could be happier. I could, you know, do better in some ways, I'm sure. But for now, it feels like, you know I'm not going to be here forever. I'm content for now where I'm at, you know. I accept that this is my circumstances, that all my decisions up until now has got me here today. And I'm okay with that, because I know I don't have regrets. One of my values is never to have regrets. And so I feel an acceptance and a slight peace attached and associated with that acceptance of this is where I have chosen to be up until now, based on the summary of all my decisions has led me to this apex point. And then that apex point is not a permanent residence. It will branch off into many different valuables and outcomes. So the beauty of life is what you make it, what you write of it. You know, it's unwritten, you know, and you decide the path you want to go based on what you jot down. And I think that's why it's so powerful, because journaling helps you open your mind to, oh, this is what I've been thinking. You put it on paper, you see it in front of you, and then you're like, damn, that's been inside me this whole freaking time. Okay, so now I can choose another path. That's what I was trying to get at the beginning. I hope I explained it better. So yeah, practice. You know, you could rewatch this daily. Well, that might be hard. You'd have to keep hearing me talk about my own life and stuff, but maybe just rewrite the 10 questions, you know, daily, and jot them down over and over again until you get like there was one journal prompt I used to do that it said, how do you feel today out of 1 star and 10 stars? 10 stars being the best, 1 star is feeling like crap, basically. You're going to start noticing the more you do these prompts, the more you're going to be like, oh, I actually chose to think differently today. I chose to think about beautiful things, not the negative. I chose to think about myself more today, or I chose to think about, you know, my healing journey, for example, of many things. And so, you know, the more you practice it, the more you train your brain to focus on other things. And the more you train it to write more stuff down, you know, as it comes, instead of holding it all in. Because the more you hold it in, the less you can sleep, the more depressed you become, the more crazy you feel, mental health-wise. So it definitely does help to jot it down, you know. I know it's hard sometimes to grab the pen and paper, but hey, you know, the way you're going to feel after, at least a little bit better, is worth the pain of having to grab a pen and paper. Trust me, okay? So I'm glad we did this today. Thank you so much for listening, poopsies.